October 14th, 1943, 27,000 feet above northern Germany. The sky is painfully blue, the kind of clear autumn morning every bomber crew secretly fears. Inside a silver aluminum fuselage, the cold is unbearable. Frost creeps along the inside walls of the aircraft like spiderwebs. Oxygen masks hiss softly. Gloved fingers tremble over machine gun triggers. Below them lies the German Reich, and somewhere in the distance, black specks are rising. Enemy fighters. Inside the cramped nose compartment of a B-17 Flying Fortress, Bombardier First Lieutenant Robert Rosenthal squints through the Norden bomb site. The target is Bremen, a heavily defended industrial city that builds the machines feeding Hitler's war. But Rosenthal isn't watching the ground anymore. He's watching the sky, because the sky is moving. At first, it looks harmless. Tiny glints of sunlight dancing across the horizon. Then, the glints grow larger, sleeker. Vasta, Messerschmitt Bf 109S, Focke-Wulf 190S, dozens of them, and they are climbing straight toward the American formation. Inside the bomber's cockpit, pilot Lieutenant Harold Joe Stokes grips the control column. He mutters a quiet sentence no one really wants to hear. Here they come. The bomber formation stretches for miles, hundreds of aircraft flying in tight boxes, each one a heavy four-engine machine, bristling with machine guns. But today, something feels wrong. Too many fighters, too many guns pointed at them, and far below, the German anti-aircraft batteries are. The German fighters come again. This time, they don't rush. They circle. They study the formation like wolves pacing around a wounded animal. High above Bremen, the American bomber stream stretches across the sky, more than 290 B-17s, flying in tight combat boxes. Their silver bodies glitter in the sunlight, engines roaring steadily as they push deeper into enemy territory. But something has changed. The escort fighters are gone. Earlier in the mission, the long-range American P-47 Thunderbolts had turned back. They simply didn't have the fuel to follow the bombers all the way to Germany and back. Now the bombers are alone. Completely alone. Inside the cockpit of one bomber, pilot Lieutenant Walter Truemper glances out the side window. He sees the fighters gathering, dozens, then hundreds, and he understands exactly what the Luftwaffe is planning. They're waiting, he says quietly, waiting for the perfect moment. German radio channels crackle with calm, disciplined voices. The fighters are organizing into attack groups, some approaching from the front, others climbing high above the formation. They know the bomber's weak spot, the frontal assault. From the nose, the bombers have the fewest guns, and the fighters can close the distance in seconds. Lieutenant Dieter Schmidt banks his Focke-Wulf 190 into position. Ahead of him, the American formation looks enormous, slow, predictable. But Schmidt has learned something in the past few minutes. These aircraft may look clumsy. By the time the American bombers reach Bremen, the sky no longer looks like a battlefield. It looks like a storm. Black fleck clouds blossom everywhere, bursting with violent flashes that shake the airframes of every aircraft passing through them. Shards of steel rip through aluminum skins, slicing wires, puncturing fuel tanks, and shattering glass. Inside the bombers, the smell of burning oil and cordite fills the cramped compartments. But the formation keeps moving. It has to, because turning back now would scatter the bombers, and once the formation breaks, the Luftwaffe will tear them apart. High above the formation, German fighter commanders realize something unsettling. The Americans aren't panicking. They're adapting. The tight combat box formations are working. Every bomber protects the others with overlapping arcs of machine gun fire. A fighter approaching from one angle is instantly exposed to guns from 3 more aircraft. The bombers are fighting like a single giant weapon. That was not expected. But the Germans still have options, and some of them are terrifying. Over the radio, a new order spreads among the German squadrons. Close-range attacks. Get closer than before, closer than any pilot normally would dare. Lieutenant Dieter Schmidt hears the command and hesitates, because he understands what it means. Flying through that wall of machine guns is already dangerous. Flying closer means flying directly into it. Still, the bombers must be stopped. The bomb run begins. Inside every bomber, the same command echoes over the intercom. Bomb bay doors open. Hydraulic motors whine. Beneath each aircraft, the massive metal doors swing apart, exposing rows of bombs hanging silently in the freezing air. From the ground below, German anti-aircraft crews see the formation straighten, and they understand instantly. Now is the moment to kill them. The flak batteries unleash everything they have. Hundreds of 88mm guns fire in coordinated patterns, sending shells bursting directly into the bomber stream. Black explosions hammer the aircraft from every side. Inside the formation, the bombers fly straight through the storm. They cannot turn. They cannot dive. They cannot even change altitude. If they move, the bombs will miss, and the entire mission will fail. Bombardier Lieutenant Robert Rosenthal lies perfectly still over the Norden bomb site. The violent shaking of the aircraft tries to throw his aim off, but the bomb site has control now. The autopilot locks the bomber onto a steady path. Rosenthal whispers softly, "Steady, steady." Outside, German fighters see the opportunity. This is the bomber's most vulnerable moment. The order spreads across the Luftwaffe radio channels. Final attack. Fighters surge toward the formation again, closer than before. Much closer. Inside the bomber formation, American gunners prepare themselves. They have been fighting for nearly 2 hours. Some aircraft are already damaged. Some crews are all. The surviving bombers turn west. Behind them, the fires of Bremen rise into the sky like black pillars. Smoke spreads across the horizon, drifting slowly over the industrial city that only hours ago had been working at full speed for the German war machine. But inside the American aircraft, no one is celebrating. Not yet, because they are still deep inside enemy airspace. And, the Luftwaffe is still hunting them. Inside the cockpit of Lieutenant Harold Joe Stokes B-17, the instruments vibrate as the bomber pushes through turbulent air. One engine coughs unevenly, damage from cannon fire earlier in the battle. Fuel is leaking somewhere in the wing. The aircraft is wounded, but it is still flying. Stokes glances outside the cockpit window. The formation is smaller now. Much smaller. Where there were once hundreds of bombers stretching across the sky, there are now empty gaps. Silent reminders of aircraft that will never return. Tail Gunner Sergeant Knisley scans the sky behind them. His eyes are burning from exhaustion. His hands ache from hours gripping the machine guns. But he keeps watching, because he knows something the Germans also understand. The return trip is when the bombers are most vulnerable. Damaged aircraft fall behind. Stragglers appear, and the German fighters are experts at finishing wounded prey. Sure enough, within minutes, dark shapes appear again on the horizon. More fighters. But something is different now. The attacks are less confident, less aggressive.